Hi, I'm Amber Lynch, and my topic is organically produced food. One thing most Americans can agree on is that organically produced food is a healthier option for humans to consume. However, in this PowerPoint presentation, we are going to explore the effects organically produced food has on our environment. In order to do that, we must answer some other questions first, like what is organically produced food? And what is the history of organically produced food? Then we can try to use that information to understand the effects of organically produced food on the environment, both globally and locally in Massachusetts. According to Britannica Encyclopedia, organic food is grown without the use of synthetic chemicals, such as human-made pesticides and fertilizers, and does not contain genetically modified organisms, also known as GMOs. Organic foods include fresh produce, meats, and dairy products, as well as processed foods such as crackers, drinks, and frozen meals. However, depending on who you ask or where you look, the definition may differ slightly. Walding-Field Farms broadens the definition to include packaging and storage. This is specific to produce farming, which states organically grown produce is grown, packaged, and stored without the use of synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, or irradiation. According to the USDA, they look at things like soil quality, animal raising practices, the use of additives, along with pest and weed control. The government defines certified organic food as products that have 95% or more of certified organic contents. The government defines the label made with organic as products that have 70% or more of their contents as certified organic. Any products with less than 70% organic contents can only identify the specific ingredients that are organic. Now, if you take a look at the photo here, this is actually a comparison photo of organic eggs. There are four of them, and non-organic eggs. I had bought both to take a picture to do a comparison just to see, and was astounded at the difference in the shape and color and size of the yolks when it comes to those eggs. Now, let's talk history. Organic farming has been in practice since the beginning of agriculture. However, the practices of industries change as we learn more. The farming industry and organically produced food has been no exception. The Dust Bowl, World War II, and the 1980s USDA farm study all taught us about better farming practices and had an impact on organically produced food. In the 1930s, farming practices like deep plowing, digging up prairie plants and grasses, and burning stubble left the grounds of the Great Plains dry and bare. When a severe drought hit, these poor farming practices, combined with high winds, ruined the topsoil of about 100 million acres of farmland, displacing thousands of farmers. This taught us how important soil conservation and biodiversity is. It resulted in the creation of the Soil Conservation Service under the USDA. This also ended up providing jobs for some during the Great Depression. During World War II, factories were built to create different synthetic chemicals like DDT, an insecticide. After the war, they used these factories to create synthetic chemicals for farming in the form of pesticides and fertilizers. The government encouraged the use of these synthetic chemicals in farming, insisting to the public this was safe and that it would improve crop yields. This did improve crop yields, but it also caused water pollution, soil erosion, and the death of many beneficial insects, birds, and other animals. This taught us how harmful the use of synthetic pesticides and fertilizers can be. Because of the 1970s energy crisis, there was growing concern from the public about energy shortages. This resulted in concern about the environment and an interest in more information on organic farming. Thus, for the USDA, the pressure was on. They conducted a study in the 1980s that was very eye-opening. The study found that soil productivity was declining. Soil erosion, sedimentation, and water pollution were degrading the environment caused by agricultural chemicals. The heavy use of pesticides were becoming a hazard to human, animals, and food safety as well. These practices were also annihilating the family farm. This was known as the 1980s organic farming study. The USDA concluded their study by saying the following. Consequently, many feel that a shift to some degree from conventional, that is chemically intensive, towards organic farming would alleviate some of these adverse effects and, in the long term, would ensure a more stable, sustainable, and profitable agricultural system. They also recommended creating educational programs for organic farming, creating a committee on organic agriculture, and conducting a study on conventional versus organic farming. The 1990s Organic Foods Production Act soon followed. This created a national standard for organically produced food. However, it took a decade to get to the final standard, which was implemented on April 21st of 2001. On a global level, conventional farming has been criticized for causing water pollution, soil erosion, and a loss in biodiversity because of synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. Therefore, on a global level, organically produced food is considered more sustainable. Because the wider variety plants and lack of pesticides enhances biodiversity, creating an increase in soil quality and a decrease in runoff created pollution from pesticides and fertilizers. Because of this, places across the globe are taking action. Sikkim, a northeast state in India, went 100% organic in 2016. Bhutan in Southeast Asia went 100% organic in 2020. Finland, Germany, and Austria created legislation to dedicate at least 20% of their land to organic farming. Massachusetts has been aggressive compared to other states when it comes to restricting the use of certain synthetic pesticides, not just because of agriculture, but because of landscaping as well. Massachusetts was the first state to pass legislation to restrict the use of certain insecticides through a regulatory process. Despite knowing the benefits of organic farming, Massachusetts only has 198 organic farms out of 7,241 farms statewide. Massachusetts has focused more on supporting their small farms and family-owned farms. In fact, 94.2% of the farms in Massachusetts are considered to be small farms, and 79.7% of the farms in the state are family-owned. And if you guys take a look, that's actually a picture of some organic tomatoes that I had picked. In conclusion, I believe that the effects of organically produced food on the environment have been positive. The reality is, conventional farming methods have been harmful to our environment because of the use of synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. The effects of organically produced food on the environment are a decrease in loss of biodiversity, a decrease in water pollution due to runoff, and a decrease in soil erosion. Therefore, organically produced food is a positive thing for our environment and should be supported not only by consumers, but by legislation through the government as well. The hurdles farmers have to jump through in order to get certified organic are not minor. However, if consumers continue to create more of a demand for organically produced food, hopefully more farms and food processors will make the switch. Thank you so much for your time and for watching my presentation on organically produced food. And yes, that picture is an organically grown cantaloupe carved into a jack-o'-lantern, or as I call it, a jack-o'-melon, by yours truly. Then please feel free to take a minute to review my sources on this works cited page.